Tommy Broughan, you have 5 minutes.
Thanks, Ken Corlin. I'd like to share with Deputy Joan Collins, if that's agreeable to the House.
Agreed.
Thanks, Ken. I listened carefully today to the speeches of the Minister and the Taoiseach in relation to housing, and I noticed the Taoiseach, he talked about this 4-week initiative or this new housing initiative and dramatic moves that we could take, and it has to be asked, of course, Ken Corlin, why we didn't do that, why we didn't end homelessness in the 31st Dáil, why we didn't proceed with fairly dramatic attempts to increase the supply of social housing, and that's an unanswerable question, and it's related, of course, to the disastrous economic policies which are followed over the last 5 years by the Fine Gael Labour government. I proposed a Department of Housing, I think about 18 or 20 years ago, because in some respects I think we've always had some kind of a housing crisis, Ken Corlin. We've always been short, particularly in the Dublin area, of social housing, and especially after the administrations, the Ahern, Haughey administrations stopped social housing. I mean, they stopped the production of large-scale social housing and left us with the kind of situation which has emerged from 2008 and the crash of 2008, where we simply don't have the supply of housing coming forward, and we've never recovered that. So at least the very least we need is a Department of Housing. Obviously, the most recent data from the Department of Environment, many deputies have referred to, with 500 families and 1,600 children in this city living in hotel rooms tonight under all kinds of difficult circumstances. It's totally intolerable, and I think the Minister had the chance many times to have ended homelessness, to have simply ended it by taking the necessary dramatic steps which he refused to take. I mean, it is very, very much a Dublin-oriented situation, a situation where this House has failed Dublin, has failed the people of Dublin, and particularly people who have depended on social housing and have simply ignored the needs of this region. I've called again and again, as you know, Minister, for us to have a FEMPI-type legislation. We were prepared to come in here at all kinds of times. You remember that, Ken Corlin, in the second last Dáil and the 30th Dáil, and bring in all kinds of legislations to shore up banks, to protect bottom lines, to reward bondholders and so on, all of which I opposed consistently all the way through. You had the opportunity, Minister, as your Taoiseach had, to have taken similar steps in relation to housing, and you simply haven't. You've refused to do it. You could have taken over all empty NAMA properties, all hoarded building land, and made them available while starting an immediate large building programme. We heard earlier today, of course, some criticism of large social housing estates in the Dublin region. It has to be said, though, generally speaking, until we had very bad architecture in the 1980s, those estates worked very well. In fact, they're the backbone of my constituency. They're the homes of the people who sent me to this House and the other 4 deputies of Dublin Bay North. We need to do that again. We need, in my own constituency alone, 2 or 3 parishes of social housing, 10, 15,000 units, like we needed yesterday, and unfortunately the outgoing Minister hasn't delivered in that regard.
Okay, thank you very much. You're leaving.